Bitcoin has seen a huge pump yesterday during the FOMC meeting. A lot of people think right now that the bottom is in, and I also actually think that Bitcoin is going to continue higher this week. So I have a Bitcoin long idea that is ready to be executed today. So during yesterday's push up, Bitcoin took out the highs right over here. We can now see the Bitcoin after sweeping Monday's low right over here. It formed the current weekly low over here on Tuesday, and it formed the current weekly high over here on Wednesday. Now we know, according to the timing statistics, we can see that the current weekly low that was formed on Tuesday already has a 60% chance to hold. What we can also see is that the current weekly high, aka the weekly P2 that was formed on Wednesday, only has a 15.7% chance to hold. The last time the Bitcoin formed its weekly P2 on Wednesday is 18 weeks ago, guys. That's over 5 months ago. Bitcoin basically always forms its weekly high or weekly low, aka the weekly P2, on a Friday. We can also see last week we did it, and there's already a 37.3% chance that we are going to form the weekly high on Friday, or 27.5% chance to form it on Sunday. So how can we utilize this in our advantage? These statistics basically show to us that the weekly low has a very high probability to hold, and also that it's very likely that the weekly high that we put in yesterday on Wednesday has a very low probability to hold. So that there's a very high probability to make new weekly highs today on Thursday, but especially on Friday, tomorrow, and especially also on Sunday. Also, guys, the weekly distance statistics are looking absolutely fire. We can see that there's an 85.2% chance to get a bigger displacement, like a bigger move compared to the current move that we have seen so far this week. So from this information, we can basically conclude that the weekly low over here is a very high probability to hold, and that the weekly high is a very low probability to hold. Also, guys, when we look at the structure, there's a few clean things going on in my opinion, because what I really like about the structure over here, when I quickly remove some drawings from the chart, is that Bitcoin over here swept a lot of buy side liquidity. Once again, guys, I'm giving away something for free, and today I'm giving away a free 1-month membership to what I think is the most authentic trading community in the space, Tribe Capital. All that you need to do in order to participate is to like this video and leave the word down below in the comments Bitcoin, and I will reveal the winner to this giveaway next week. Now, since the price over here made a higher high and then formed a lower low over here, this high became a very significant high to break. So then Bitcoin got a push back all the way in towards this demand area, which was also a valid demand area due to the fact that we had a beautiful sweep of liquidity over here before we got an impulse towards the upside. And then we bounced from the demand area and made a higher high over here, breaking through this very significant high. Now that means that we also have a very clean break of structure over here, making this low an even higher probability invalidation to hold for the remainder of the week. But like I said, we can also conclude that Bitcoin is probably gonna make new weekly highs, so I'm anticipating potential long positions. Now, the current play that I'm looking for is for Bitcoin to form a potential daily low today in between hour 12 and in between hour 14. What do I mean by that? I mean that these hours, hour 12 and hour 14, are very preferred hours for Bitcoin to form a potential low for the day or a potential high for the day. So we can also see that we have some liquidity resting over here, and we also have some local liquidity resting over here, and even beneath a low right over here. So what I'm looking for is for Bitcoin to take out some sell side liquidity, form a strong daily low in between hour 12 and in between hour 14, get a local break of structure back towards the upside, then form a new session high over here once hour 15 starts, and then we have ourselves a bullish trigger and a high probability invalidation for an intraday long trade on Bitcoin, with our invalidation beneath that session low targeting new weekly highs for the price of Bitcoin. And we can see towards the first target, which is new weekly highs for Bitcoin, we can already see that we have a beautiful RR of 2.22, but we also know, and I discussed this on Tuesday's high time frame market update video. If you guys haven't checked that one out, you definitely need to make sure that you are going to check it out. We also can see that Bitcoin is simply breaking out of this major falling wedge over here. So if we analyze the higher time frame, we can see that if this is indeed the higher time frame falling wedge breakout that I was talking about, In that case, guys, we should be holding this long position for Bitcoin towards much higher prices, because my higher time frame bias remains the exact same. We have a higher time frame range over here. We have a higher time frame falling wedge that is currently breaking out. If this falling wedge indeed is going to see a valid and high probability breakout, and it is indeed going to continue higher, once we reclaim this higher time frame range low, guys, the only next objectives are the mid-range liquidity pool over here around $98,000, and also this high time frame liquidity pool over here around $106,000. So in that case, if we can execute an intraday long trade today on Bitcoin with the execution and triggers that I explained to you guys right over here, the RR all of a sudden moves from an RR of 2 all the way towards a major potential RR of 26.42. So Bitcoin is ready to make new weekly highs today on Thursday, but also probably tomorrow on Friday. So we are looking to execute long positions, but only upon the right confirmation. So guys, patiently wait for the confirmation triggers to present themselves, and once they present themselves, hop into a long position and see if we can make some profit. If you guys have any questions after watching today's YouTube update, make sure to ask me all the questions in the comments down below, and I'll make sure to answer all of the questions for you guys.